Alright guys, I think that's about as good as we can get it. We're going to go ahead and paint it. I'm not sure if this is going to hold the paint any better than the plastic or the paper or what all would. Probably not. So, probably going to put a, let's go with a coat of black over the top of it.
Wait.
Actually, before we do that.
Have you already did the rock part?
No, the rock's going to be the last thing we do.
Okay.
Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and put a little bit of lava coming off the top of the volcano. You could do this with red hot glue. Okay, don't set it over there. I don't want it knocked off.
Okay. What's that?
It's going to be a volcano.
Okay. Again, I would rather have it with red paint, just like you said.
Well, yeah, but it's what I've got. I'm going to paint this stuff red. Plus, once I'm done, it should give it a little more texture, and I've got a
string.
Yeah.
I hate those.
Yeah, stringers are the bane of my existence.
Anyway, I need to go and get my...
Alright. I need to get me another glue stick. Set that down. There we go. Let's see here. Kind of just wanting to have. I got some stringers again. That stringers are the bane of my existence. There we go. We're going to have to let that dry a minute before we can do anything else, so I'll be back here shortly. Alright guys, I think we've got our volcano. I'm going to go ahead and paint up the thing. If I'd really had a smaller one to do, I could have cut a hole through the top and put an LED light or something where it'd shine out. But since we don't, we'll just do what we got to do. Now, because I know a lot of people put like little interactive bits, little interactive bits in there.
Yeah. I'll be in here.
Okay. Alright. So I'm going to paint the whole thing and then try to dry brush it in. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do need it to be at least covered. This may take me a couple of coats because this paint, like I said, I'm using the black here as a primer, similar to what they would use with a gesso. I'll have to, when I go next time I'm at the store, I'm going to see if I can find some of that because that just looks like it could be useful. Alright. We're going to go ahead and I got to put a little more paint on it over here in this corner. We're going to let that dry a few minutes then we'll have to, like I said, I want to get enough coats on here to where it's not bleeding through.
True.
Let's get up here on top.
You don't want it to bleed through.
Yeah, so we're going to let that dry a few minutes. I got a little thumb spot right here where I was holding on to it. Let's go ahead and get that too. There we go. Now we're going to let that volcano dry a few minutes.
Okay.
And I'll have to come back, probably put another coat onto it.
There we go.
Okay. Greetings, boys and ghouls. This is Dr. Von Mad. I ran into a bit of an accident today. I accidentally walked into a door facing. I was kind of playing around with Kid Mad and didn't see where I was going and kind of walked into the door facing. As you can see, I busted my head open. So, that being said, we're going to get to work. I know that was random, but, alright. We've got our volcano. My primer coat actually held on pretty good. Now, I forgot to get my gray paint. Well, we got to do a little work anyway on the inside of the thing before I can add it anyway. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me kind of raise this up a piece and kind of get where you can see what I'm doing from the inside. Get my paint rag. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to get a thin brush because we're going to be using a thin brush. Well, actually, I can also use that one. Alright, so let's go ahead and do some work here. Because what I'm wanting to do is we're going to put a little bit of a fire, so I got to figure out exactly where that fire is going to be. So let's go ahead and lay this in and figure out exactly where I want it. And that means it's going to have to be right around there. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, and I'm going to start adding in some colors to make it look like flames and lava and booms and a disaster and all that. So what we're going to do is just kind of just, right now it looks more like lightning, but it's not exactly done yet either. Now, go ahead and close up the yellow flame. Let's go ahead and grab another color. In this case, we're going to go in with a little bit of King's Gold. Okay, let's go ahead and use a little King's Gold. Now this time I'm going to go with a slightly wider brush. Okay. I want it to kind of look like a volcanic eruption or something similar. I could put smoke up there. I was going to use like cotton balls or something, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea of just kind of going with flames or something coming up out of it. So that's what we're going to do. Now, I kind of like that. Now let's go ahead and put up the yellow flame. I've got the glue gun heating up so I can put the sculpture in place, the little rock painting in place. We're going to lay him in right in the middle. Alright, let's go in with a little bit of, I want to save the metallic red, but we are going to use a little orange. So go ahead and we'll rinse this off. And we'll go in with a little bit of spiced carrot orange. In this case, since I'm making a volcano or kind of a flaming cataclysm, you kind of want warm colors to kind of, you know, evoke the flames. So we're just going to put a few isolated flames coming up. I think that looks good. Let's see how it looks with this in place. Oh yeah, perfect. Now, I'm going to go get some gray paint, and I will be back with you in a minute. Now, before I do that, let's see if this glue gun's ready to put this in place, and we will still have to paint around the edges of this. Alright, our glue gun. It's got some paint on it. Go ahead and get this spider web out of the way. We're going to glue it in like that. I like it. Now, we'll be right back and go get some gray paint because I got to paint up this volcano. Be right back. Alright guys, we are back. Let's go ahead and we're going to try to dry brush in a little dark gray and then a little lighter gray over the top of it to kind of bring out all these colors and get it to where it's not black. Now, the perfect choice for this is this brush, the big brush. Get a little bit of this gray off here. come up here and hopefully not brush off paint. It's a little smoother than I'd like, but try finding a volcano somewhere. I may end up having to go over it with a little gray and then dry brush the lava. Oh yeah, let me get it over where you can see. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dry brush the lava. So we're going to go ahead and let that dry and see what I can do with the lava. I'm going to have to touch up the bottom of it anyway, but we'll see what we can do. So first thing we're going to do is grab the real red. So I'm going to go over it with a little metallic red when I'm done to kind of give it a little bit of a different look to it. Okay, maybe dry brush a little yellow over the red. I'm not going to be able to hit down here where the bottom of the glue is because the gray paint's drying, but we will get to it eventually. I'm having to kind of figure out a few things on the fly. So we're going to end up going to a smaller brush. Let me drop this in here. Pull this one out and grab this little blade brush to do this job. Not so much worried on this bottom coat if a little bit of the gray and the red mix. So, because we're going to be going over it with different colors anyway. We'll have to let that dry a few minutes. I got paint coming off down here. That's going to have to be addressed. So I've got paint coming off of this bottom corner down here. That's going to be a nuisance. Dry this off. I'll put up the red. Probably going to end up having to touch it up again, but at least this time the paint's holding, so that's a good thing. I may end up having to clear coat it and be very gentle when it dries. At least once it's in place, it should be fine. Alright, we're going to let this volcano dry a few minutes, and we'll be back with you then.